Hi guys, it's time for me to work on my October prompt for one little word, and this month I'm going to stay pretty literal to the prompt. So I am going to go and take a little selfie, and then I'm going to show you on the computer how I resize that selfie to fit into my pocket page notebook.
So like I said, I'm going to go pretty literal with this prompt and just follow along with the idea of having a selfie photo with some labels, things I'm grateful for about myself. So I've taken a selfie and I'm going to show you how to crop a selfie photo like this in Photoshop a couple of different ways for your traveler's notebook. This technique is going to work best if you take your photo on a plain solid background. So I've chosen a painted wall in my hallway. It's a little bit grubby, you can see, but we'll fix that in just 1 second. And what I want to do is the first one I'm going to show you, I'm just going to crop this to a traveler's notebook page, a single page. So I'm going to use my crop tool, and I've got that set to 11 centimeters by 21 centimeters. That's roughly 4 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to drag it out until it sort of is the right size. Now, when I took the selfie, I made sure that I was leaving a little bit of space off to the side, and I just want to drag up my my crop box here until it's at the point where my arm reaches the edge of the frame. And actually I'm just going to crop off this little wrinkle here because it doesn't look good to me visually. And then I'm going to hit return to crop that. And so as you can see, we end up with this little white box at the top here, which isn't ideal. I want to fill this up. So I want to grab my marquee tool, and I'm just going to drag out a rectangle. I don't want to drag it all the way down to the top of my head, just a big enough slice. And then go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. And then I'm just going to drag this box up until it covers the top of my canvas and hit Return. You can go ahead and deselect that. Now, if your walls are grubby like mine and have little marks, it might have stretched that out. So the heel tool works quite well for just quickly covering up those sorts of marks. And then if you want to do a single page in your traveler's notebook, you can go ahead and just print that as is, and that will cover one page. And if you want to do something else on the second side of your spread, you can do that. What I want to do is actually turn this photo now into a double page spread in my traveler's notebook. So I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to go to Image and Canvas Size. And I want to click on this button here on the left because I want my canvas to extend to the right into the blank space of my photo. And I'm going to work in centimeters, just because it's easier for me. I want the width of this canvas now to be 22 centimeters. So that's going to be 8.5 inches, roughly, I think. And go OK. So now we've got, again, this big blank white space out here, which again isn't ideal. I want to extend this photo over. There's probably a few ways to do this. This is real close down the bottom here, so I'm probably not going to be able to grab enough of my photo using the same technique we did before to extend it over. So if I have my box too far like this and do that same transform again, you can see it stretches my arm out. My arms are big enough already without doing that, so that's not what I want to do. And if I just grab a small slice and try the transform again, it also, has grabbed a little bit of my arm down the bottom here, which isn't ideal, so I don't want to do that either. So that my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of the white space, and I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, and I'm going to choose content aware. There's lots of options in here, but I want to choose content aware and go OK. This can take a little bit of time. It obviously has a lot of space to think about and fill in, but hopefully it will recognize that I want this blank wall filled in with the same blank wall on the other side of my photo. And there you go. It's not totally perfect, but it is good enough for me, and I'm going to go ahead and print that out. But first I want to show you a really quick way to adjust the labels that I want to use. This is the printable label sheet from the Citrus Twist Christmas Stories kit this month. Very Christmas themed, which isn't exactly what I want for my one little word. So I'm going to show you a really easy way to change that, which is to go to your adjustments palette and click on hue and saturation. And the one we want to use first is hue, and you see if I drag this slider, it changes all the colors. So if you want to quickly adjust some labels like this but aren't particularly worried about what colors it is that you want, then hue is a really easy way to do that. The other thing you can do is adjust the saturation on some of these. You can see you get a much more subtle color scheme by doing it this way. And you can continue to change your sliders here of the hues. You can pick, so you can choose a lot of different color schemes this way, but I think I'm going to go with this kind of bluey, tealy, sort of pinky tones, like so. The only thing is I don't like these sort of maroony colored ones, so I'm going to go back to my layers, and I'm going to make sure that the mask is selected. Then I'm going to grab my paintbrush tool, make sure that's on black. I'm going to just increase my brush size to make this a little bit quicker, and just paint over the ones that you don't like. Like so. Now the thing is I don't necessarily want green either, so I'm going to right click onto the mask and I'm going to add mask to selection, and then I want to go to select and inverse the selection. So now I've just got these green ones selected. Then I'm going to go back to my adjustments palette, back to the choices here, and click on hue and saturation again. Now this time you can see when I'm adjusting the hues, it's only adjusting the 3 that I had chosen. And that means I can go ahead and adjust those and pick colors for them that I want. So maybe like a darker teal green, maybe like so. I obviously don't need all of these, so I'm going to just crop that down. And that gives me a sheet of labels that are the right colors that I want to use on this spread here. So I'm going to go ahead and print all of this and then start working on my page.
So I've got my full page selfie now that's going to fit into my notebook, and I've also got my custom colored sheet of labels. So I could probably just trim these out and stick them on and write out the things that I'm grateful for, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just run it through my typewriter and type out the things that I'm thankful for, just because one of the things I'm not thankful for is my handwriting, and I would prefer to keep this page sort of clean. So I'm going to go and I probably will end up having to trim the sheet down here so that I can actually run it through my typewriter, but I'm going to go and sit over there and think about a few things. I suspect this is going to be harder than I want it to be, so it might be some time. I'll be back. Okay, yeah, that took exactly how long I thought it would, but I have typed out all my little labels, trimmed them all out, and because I cheated and printed these on sticker paper, I now can basically put this page together super quickly. So I just need to trim down this page so it fits the 2 halves of my notebook, and then glue those in. Now I didn't use the digital word art, I was just going to stamp something in here, and I probably, now that I think about that, should have done that before I glued that in, but I will go and see what I can find for that, and then all I need to do is place these labels sort of around and about. So I don't know if I'll use them all or not. I'm just going to put in here what looks good, and for any that's left over I might keep them and put them on a separate page, but quite probably it's just the exercise of actually writing out those things that is the helpful part. So I think I'm just going to use these alphas from Cocoa Daisy just because they're small but quite sort of black and chunky. However, I don't know where I'm going to put them, so I also obviously haven't cleaned them very well. I sort of wanted to avoid the middle, but actually I think I'm going to try and stamp it sort of here, and just gives me more space to put all these labels around. So I'm just going to carefully stamp this along here, just with my Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay, so I probably got way too many labels, but I kind of have fit almost all of them in except one, so I'm just going to go with that. These ones I am going to have to cut to put over the edge, but I think it should be alright. The point is, as I've written it, it is still there, so I'm going to do all of that now.
One thing I did forget to mention is that I printed these labels on sticker paper just to literally make this process easier for me. So I'm not having to glue anything, I'm just peeling off the back and sticking them down onto the page. Some of them I am gonna overlap the edge of the page, and once I finish sticking everything down I will just go ahead and trim those off.
And I don't really think I'm going to add anything to that. I don't think it needs a lot else. It's a super busy page, but I actually quite like it. I like how graphic it is too. And it was a really challenging prompt to have to write these sort of internal thankful things about myself. So if you haven't tried this month's prompt, I suggest you give it a go. Take some time to do it because it can be a little bit challenging to not just pump out those really superficial kind of thankful things, and to dig a little bit deeper. So let me know if you did this prompt and how you found it, but if you haven't done it, do give it a go. It is actually really insightful. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again real soon. Bye guys.